Hey friends, bit of a different video today. Let me tell you about my Peavey AT-200 electric guitar with AutoTune. So the Peavey AT-200 may, to all intents and purposes, look like a fairly cheap guitar. And in some ways, it is a fairly cheap guitar. You know, standard solid body electric guitar, twin humbucker pickups, a triple way pickup selector, tone and volume knobs. But what's really impressive about this guitar and what makes it more than worth the price to me is the incredible auto-tuning technology inside the guitar. So let's just, don't bore us, get to the chorus, as they say. I'll go into all the features in a minute, but let's just have a listen to exactly what this guitar can do. So this is the standard sound of the guitar. I need to tune. So try that again. So that in itself should be worth the money, right? If I turn off the system, you'll be able to hear the standard sound. Awful. Obviously I've way tuned it out just to show, but you strum the strings and press a button. Individually, string by string, tunes. And there you go. Perfectly in tune. This helps in so many more ways than just tuning the strings. So let me just go through some of the presets I've got saved. It'll give you an idea of what the guitar can do. So let's have a listen. Okay, so the first preset is just simple California Strat pickup style, which turns the sound from this to this. A little bit more trebly. Then things start to get interesting. Preset 2 sounds like this. Preset 3 is a tuning a bit like a Nashville style tuning where the thicker strings are replaced with thinner gauge strings, used in songs such as my Bad Bon Iver cover. But it's also good for just anything, really. Preset 4 is an open-stringed tuning, but it also puts the guitar into what I think is one of the most useful tone profiles, which is that of an acoustic guitar. Yes, this guitar can emulate an acoustic guitar, and it's not actually that bad. And this is what it sounds like. Preset 6 is another open acoustic tuning used for songs such as The other very interesting thing this can do is actually split which strings have a doubling effect on them. Here I've got a preset where the bottom 3 strings have a bass note doubled on them. Which means that in some songs you can play a full guitar and bass at the same time, like this. And so on. It's not always useful, but it is pretty cool. This is a preset that gets used all the time. So you've heard a few of the user presets that I've saved into the guitar. How is it able to do all this stuff? Well, much like a lot of the other modelling guitars on the market, it has complex circuitry and special pickups that allow it to individually change the tone and pitch of each of the strings, which enables it to stay in tune, playing all the way up the neck. So it's great for recording when you want things to sound their absolute best. Not to mention the fact that you can record a single song with 3 or 4 different guitar styles, all on the same guitar. The 3-way tone control acts on each model of guitar just like it would on its real-world counterpart. So you engage the system by pushing in a latching control knob, and that engages the system, which will either run from 4 AA batteries in the rear of the guitar. They tend to last for, days and days, so you don't need to be changing them out all the time. Alternatively, you can purchase a breakout box which goes on your floorboard, and that allows you to connect via the kind of DIN MIDI type cable with a few extra pins that plugs in right next to where the audio jack would plug in if you just want to play it like a standard guitar. It doesn't need any of the other features, the breakout box or a MIDI connection or anything like that. It will just play with all of the features and tuning as a regular guitar. You just plug it into your amp like any other guitar, and you can change the settings by picking different frets. We'll go into a little bit more about that now. So the bottom E string plucked open puts it into modern humbucker pickup style. Fret 1 puts it into California single coil. Hopefully you should be able to hear a difference just between those two. Fret 2 turns the guitar into an acoustic style, in which there are 3 separate acoustic models which can be selected with the pickup selector switch. So it goes from this to this one, and then this one. There's a really nice bodied sound on some of those, a lot of low end, good for picking. So there's a lot of versatility in the acoustic models. It's actually been one of my favourite parts of this guitar, and I play this a lot as an acoustic guitar in church and places like that. Just rocking up with a kind of metal-y looking Peavey guitar kind of turns some heads, but then when people hear the acoustic-y kind of sounds coming out, it's pretty mellow. Fret 3 is a Nashville single coil. I don't really know how this will be much different to the California. It's kind of nice, and also the pickups selector works just the same. So that was in the bridge, this is in the neck. It's quite full, and this is a mix. Fret 4 is a mini humbucker. That's definitely an electric guitar sound. And you've got a few others on here. There's a P90, there's an SLO custom HSH, there's a vintage humbucker, there's a vintage lipstick tube, and there's even a bass simulation. Now, the bass simulation will lead us nicely onto one of the other tricks the guitar can do, which is pitching and doubling of strings. So, to get a true bass sound from this guitar, I changed the pickup type to be emulating a bass guitar. Then it sounds like this. So moving on to the A string, this string allows you to choose between different tunings that have already been preset into the guitar. It's worth mentioning at this point that for whatever reason they chose to do it, Peavey have decided that they will sell these features in tiered layers of packs, as they call them. So the guitar as stock, I think, comes with a very basic set of these, whereas if you upgrade to the full pack, then you can get all of these features. When I bought it, the guy had already upgraded to the whole software pack inside the guitar, so it had all the features unlocked. Might be something worth thinking about before you get into buying one of these. So the alternate tunings, the standard one, fret 1 is drop D, so you're ready for plenty of drop D fun. Fret 2 puts us into Dadgad, which obviously sounds great with the acoustic model. Fret 3 puts us into open E tuning, which is good for any kind of slide action. String 4, the D string, gets you into some doubling options. This is where you'll find stuff like the 12 string options, and also a couple of weird kind of fifths and things that might be of some use if you're into, like, I don't know, Dream Theater or something. So again, a reminder of the stock humbucker sound. And then with one pick of the D string, first fret, you put into 12 string. Fret 2 is a polyphonic octaver down. Not sure what that is, let's find out. Okay, so that's just doubling all the strings an octave down. Useful for something, I guess. Probably more like licks and stuff. Which might be a good point to take a little break and talk about how this auto-tuning guitar deals with pitch bends and things of that nature and vibrato. And I'm really pleased to say it does really well. I thought it would be, you know, snapping to the nearest note, just like a bad T-Pain song, but you can bend and vibrato as much as you want, just as if it was a regular guitar. One of the best features of this guitar for me has been that it has the ability to virtually capo your instrument, both up and also down in pitch. So the other night I was playing a show, needed a capo, didn't feel like putting one on, so you just pluck a string and you're automatically on the 4th fret. Oh, and what's the other one? What's the other 90s classic that I absolutely love capoed? Oh yeah. Anyway. And yes, it can in fact also go the other way, as the B string performs a capo down. So if you turn up, someone wants to play an E flat, which is great, or even, you know, much lower. Essentially turn your guitar into like a baritone. So that is the Peavey AT-200 Electric Guitar with AutoTune. It's a bit of a wrap up. What I like about this guitar, it plays great and it sounds great. Now, I've been playing guitar since I was like 10 or 11 years old, so it's not a guitar that you can buy and automatically be good at guitar. It doesn't tune in that way, but it will help you if you're just starting out, and things like being able to actually physically keep your guitar in tune are proving difficult for you. Where I think this guitar will really shine is with players like myself who've been playing for a long time, who are just hobbyists and who are kind of sick of always having to keep everything perfectly in tune with everything else, not to mention it having one or two really cool tricks up its sleeve. It's really musically inspiring to be able to really quickly select between different types of guitar and, more importantly, different tunings, and finding those tunings. It really helps you to kind of think outside the box when it comes to your own songwriting. And rather logistically speaking, the thing is really cheap. I mean, I paid just over £200 for mine, and that came with the MIDI breakout box and all of those feature packs that I talked about you having to install. So it was a really great deal secondhand. For whatever reason, this guitar didn't really take off, it seems. And so if you can find one now, they're pretty reasonably priced. The things I didn't quite like so much about the guitar, the batteries, whilst they do last a long time, and there is a warning light on the pickup that flashes when you're about to run out, it can sometimes run out a bit suddenly after the light starts flashing, so you want to make sure that you're kind of in tune all the time, if you can be, so that if it drops out, at the very worst, you're left with just a regular guitar and you can carry on a song. As well as that, although the fret control function of being able to select different settings by playing up and down the fret is good, it can malfunction sometimes and misregister the notes you're trying to play, which is fine, you can usually correct, but if it happens in the middle of a song, it can kind of throw you off a little bit if you don't quite know where the guitar is thinking you're picking to select whichever setting. On a similar note, it does this thing sometimes where if you play a fret to control above the 12th fret, it tries to do something called global transposition, which basically frets the guitar up across the board, like in all your presets, no matter what, you know, even turning it off and turning it back on again doesn't bring it back down. So you'd have to know how to manually undo that. And the thing is, sometimes if you play a harmonic by accident while you're holding the button to select something, it thinks that that's what you're trying to do, so it puts it into that mode. So I've had a few times where it's kind of messed up like that. The customization and the way that you can program your own presets to the guitar is not the best written software wise. It used to be a Java app, I think, but now they might have changed that. But it's a bit finicky, so you have to kind of get used to it. And if you want to do custom tunings like I've done, you have to program them in cents. So you have to get a calculator out and work out how many cents are between the note the string is and the note you want it to be, etc. So it's kind of mental arithmetic, but you get the hang of it. The manual also isn't the best written. There's a manual floating around. It says it's the manual, but it goes into huge detail about like the process behind like how the guitar works and stuff, and it doesn't really tell you, you know, the basic things like press this button to do this, etc. So that could be a lot better written. And the last thing I would say is kind of a disadvantage is that you kind of need to play the guitar through an amp or through headphones so that you can't hear the strings at the same time as you're hearing the auto-tuned version of whatever you're listening to, because obviously if you virtually fretted the guitar up but you can actually hear the original string sound alongside that, then it's kind of off-putting. It makes some like really weird sounds. But aside from that, it sounds absolutely fantastic when you're listening through headphones or through an amp. And especially for recording, you know, I've put that one guitar on quite a few tracks as a whole host of different guitars, and it always sounds really authentic to me. Yeah, so thanks for watching this video. It's a bit of a different one. I plan to do more of these Let Me Tell You About My series, so that I can share some of the stuff I'm interested with you guys. Let me know what you think. If you've ever played a Peavey AT-200 guitar, I'd be interested to hear what your thoughts are on it. Thanks for watching. See you again next time. Bye.